Hey everyone, happy Monday and welcome back to another day trading recap video. Today is June 6th and I was trading a little bit longer today, or at least I was watching the market a little bit longer today. We had FUTU constantly crawling up. I did some good trades on that ticker, but then somehow I'm red on it. It's a little frustrating. So let's go right to the trading screen. Let me show you guys this one. I just couldn't get green on this ticker, and then I kind of stopped trading it right before that big runoff right here, and then I was pretty much done trading around 10, and I was watching this move. We had a good 5-minute breakout, 1-minute pullback, textbook perfect. Just a little bit frustrating. Looking back on this ticker, it's so obvious, but I guess it always is. In hindsight, 2020. I guess FUTU it's a larger share size, so a lot of larger float and a larger market cap, $6.7 billion. Not the typical company that I'm really trading, but yeah, just it was just so steady sailing right here, so smooth sailing. If I just didn't trade this and I just traded this, it would have been my classic bread and butter setup right here. So I think I'm a little annoyed how I traded this one, and that's all. Overall, I'm green today. YMTX was really the one that brought home the bacon. With QNRX, this was a really frustrating ticker. I was up like 400 or so pre-market, not that much, but like a decent green day, especially in this slow market. And then I had like a little break. I was talking to my girlfriend, blah blah blah, got back to the computer and just took a trade, which was okay setup, but instantly I got flushed on, and then I lost like 300 something on this trade, and then I made back some of my losses. But just like that, I went up on the day to like back to break even in just one trade. And that's always so frustrating because it's like, why did I do that? Why did I lose my focus? Why did I just take this silly trade? It was a little frustrating. And I don't think mentally I fully recovered from this one. Yeah, I was able to get back most of my losses, but instantly it changed the whole entire day from like, all right, let's making more profit, new high day, more profit, to like back to break even, and then like let's see if we can just get back. And it's so annoying. It's like when some of your first trades are red and you're just digging yourself out of the hole all day. That's kind of what it felt like all of a sudden. So it kind of took the I don't know, just made it a little bit more stressful. I don't want to say took the fun out of it, because I don't really trade just because blindly having fun, buying and selling. It's quite systematic what I'm doing. The problem is sometimes you get in these kind of mental funks, and sometimes when you're digging yourself out of the hole, it puts you in that mental funk. Now, I do like trading, I do enjoy it, but at the same time, if you want to be consistently profitable and you want to do it as your career like I'm doing, I feel like you have to have a really specific system around it. So I don't just log in and trade whatever I see. I do like to systemize it. Unfortunately, it does help when your confidence is somewhat high, but it's not too high. And I feel like after taking a big loss, it shatters that confidence a little bit. And then I feel like I could have done a lot better today, and I think that's why I'm a little bit disappointed. But let's dive into these tickers, review them. Let's actually start with YMTX, because this is the one, obviously I'm green on the most, but this is the one I first started trading today. Did more and more trading, and then I traded QNRX. So we'll go to YMTX, and then we'll just go right to the biggest loser. So biggest gainer right here, YMTX. Look at this, dollar volume wise, it's not even up that. It's not the biggest winner by any measure, but it was a ticker that had some good opportunities on it. So on the daily chart, big backside here, nothing really too interesting to look at, but high relative volume, and it did break some big resistance here, and it was well on its way to like 2.6, 2.7, especially pre-market, and that's when I was mostly trading it. Biotech, 11 million shares outstanding, 21 million market cap. Has some, catalysts, some mixed catalysts coming out here. Looks like some sort of deal going on. I do like those deals and collaborations, but I didn't get overly focused on it. That's usually my downfall when I start reading the catalyst too much and start thinking about it too much. That's when I miss opportunities. So YMTX pops up, quickly, 50%, pulls back, and then right around 7 a.m. breaks out again, and this is where I really start trading it. This is where I made most of my money today, right here in this area. And then at the open, it was a little bit of a chop fest. Let's zoom into whoa, it just had a huge flush, this ticker. This is why I don't like trading after 10 o'clock. I don't see any sort of offering. Wow, that's brutal. Ooh, 13%. That'll ruin your morning real quick. Let's zoom into this one quick, and then let's look at that a little bit more. So yeah, popped up here, pulled back, and then started trending higher. I bought it into this breakout, but with only small shares. I didn't get a full size. So this was this is like one of my best percentage trades of the day, but I totally missed the opportunity. It was like 5 cents a share. It was like a 2.5% win. Nothing crazy, but I didn't get that many big wins today. So like a 2.5% win, although it's like barely a base hit, it was actually a pretty good one today. Then I had this nice little pop here, the 7%. This is actually where I made a decent chunk of change, but I actually made most of my money in this pullback. This last attempt here, I really sized into this one well. I think it was like 4,000 shares or something like that. So like a classic 10K position size. I took my base hit on this one and then it flushed. So that was really, really good. I just figured, it's not a good market, so I'm not going to hold for a potential breakout. And that was the right decision. Then I actually traded this backside here, which is very unusual. So this was a backside trade. And then I did this trade right here, which typically I would call this, a new breakout because we had a 5-minute breakout and I was buying the 1-minute pullback. But really, this is still stuck in a range here. So this is a bit range trading where I gave back some profits on. Overall, it was quite frustrating because I think I stopped out right here, right before it bounced right back. And I was like, whole thing was kind of frustrating at this point. This is why I typically avoid trading the range because it'll just make you go crazy, especially if you're a front side trader. And if you accept you're trading the range and you plan accordingly, and that's really what you do all the time, that's a little bit different. But in this situation, let me move this here. I had kind of a different concept in my mind that was driving me a little insane. So the market opened. This ticker starts pulling back here, but then instantly popped up. And then it flushed all the way back down. And this is where I was trying to accumulate it here. I was pretty sure it was a bear trap. Bear trap. So a classic Colby shake. And I was trying to buy here, but it bounced right back up. And I chased it literally all the way up. I think my first entry was like 216 or something ridiculous. I was chasing here like no tomorrow. Yeah, 216.5 even. I went in with 5K share size. So I was getting really aggressive. I was buying here. I had my first limit order here, closed it, moved up, chased it the whole way. It was so annoying. I was like, are you kidding me? I think this is where I was kind of already getting annoyed today, because not just did I just pretty much give back all my profits, but now it's like the exact move happened that I was waiting for, and I didn't get my fill, right? So it's like you get in this tilt mode really quickly, and I noticed that. Now I don't really have anything against chasing as long as the opportunity is fine, because as a momentum day trader, especially a front side trader, you're buying high with the intention of selling higher. So chasing sometimes is a really negative word for basically doing what you're supposed to be doing, and that's buying into breakouts and stuff like that. Oftentimes chasing is like, you start having FOMO and you're just trying to buy higher at all costs, which I technically was doing, but at the same time, it's technically what I'm supposed to do. So it's not always a bad thing. You got to keep that in mind, because the 5-minute was a good setup. Let's go here. 5-minute was a new breakout right now, and we're just getting that, micro pullback. So technically, if I bought here or here, this was just more confirmation. Now we didn't get that continuation. So in a hot market, this probably would have had a quick pullback and just kept ripping. In a cold market like we're in right now, it pulled back, tried to rip again and failed. I took some profits here, and then let's see, another move happened. I did another trade here, but all this was very small. Another small trade here in this area, almost not even worth talking about. And then I pretty much threw in the towel. I was just done with it. But yeah, it really goes to show that it really depends sometimes what market you're in. Now, a lot of times we love these small caps because they don't really care about the overall market. But I got to say, this downtrend is just so different than the one we had during COVID, because during the COVID downtrend, you'd get these huge flyers like these COVID small caps or these pharmaceutical companies that are just ripping 200, 300, 500% in a day. So even though the market was halted like 3 days in a row for having like 6% sell-off days, there was just a lot of volume. The money was still there. In this more or less downturn, which we've had pretty much starting since December or January, you could just feel like there's just no buyers. And sometimes there's not even sellers either. It's just like this gradual low volume sell-off. And you really feel it across the board. So it's hard to really start sizing up. And we talked about this a lot in the monthly recap, where I want to maintain my bigger size by just taking my base hits very quickly, as opposed to like growing my size, having my $20,000, $30,000 position sizes, which I would usually achieve by adding into my positions. So I'll just take my 10K trade, do that quick little base hit, but I'm not going to add into it, do that $20,000-$30,000 position size, because we just don't get that resolution. That's a really big point. Now, when you see something like this, a capitulation like this, I would be really careful. Usually, if this continued holding its highs, I wouldn't be surprised for a power hour push or something like that. But a move like this is really dangerous. So I'm not too bullish on YMTX at the moment. Not at all. On the daily chart, yeah, it does have a nice little continuation here. I really wouldn't want to see this break below like 170 or so. Maybe we're going to hold this and we'll see it again for the next few days, pop higher and higher, and maybe eventually break $3 and hit to 3.5 or so. But at the moment, with a flush like that, that's scary. So I'm not super bullish on YMTX at the moment. Let's go to QNRX and see where this ticker nailed me. Classic backside as well, big sell-off, low relative volume. The relative volume isn't that great. It's like average based on these spike days. Obviously, it's way above like every average, but on these spike days, it's pretty average so far. You'd really want to see something more like the first ticker. I already forgot the ticker name. YMTX is a weird one. YMTX. I can't remember that. Where you could see that high relative volume just in general, even compared to the other relative volume days. So that's a really important thing to be looking for. So QNRX, let's go back to this one, QNRX. Yeah, not the highest relative volume as you see there, sell off here, and then, it's not really making any new highs. We did break some big resistance zones, but it's a sub dollar, and I really hate these sub dollars. I don't even know why I bother trading it. 5-minute chart. Just really hectic. It's all over the place. And then the 1-minute chart, you can see where I made my big mistake here. We had that big breakout here. And I was like, oh, perfect. 5-minute breakout. Let's jump in on this one. I was already buying high in this area. This was probably a chase because at this point, the 5-minute was no longer a fresh 5-minute breakout like it was here in this area around VWAP. I was buying it really near the all-time highs, short term and pretty much long term as well. And this was kind of absurd. I then eventually stopped out here, did pop a little bit higher, but before it continued selling off. This was just really frustrating because it was just like, I was really patient. I did pretty good trading overall, maybe not like great trading, but pretty good for a Monday. And then I really just give it all back in this one trade. And it was just like, that was so dumb, so dumb. And it's because I wasn't focused. I was doing something else. I come back and then I'm like, this is moving. I should be trading this, which, it's right. I should have been trading this, but I should have been trading this around VWAP on this 5-minute breakout here, not, on the tip of the next 5-minute move. So I was literally trading right in this area. That was my size. So very aggressive. Then we had another VWAP breakout. I traded this one. I didn't get my full size. I just got like 800 shares out of like 5,000 or so. Popped up and I just closed it. This could have been a good way to make my money back, but I wasn't about to buy again here in this area. Although, maybe it would have worked this time. But yeah, look, disaster sell-off ever since. So this is not an exciting ticker anymore. I have no hopes for QNRX. I would not be long-term on that one. FUTU, let's go back to this one really quick because this is just such a fun ticker here. It really held its highs. Look at this, held its highs perfect here. Good 5-minute setup, broke out again. So yeah, maybe I could have kept on trading. Let me write in the chat room really quickly here. What a winner, what a winner. There we go. Yeah, maybe I should have kept trading today because this was a nice crawl here. This was a really good move. I don't know, it's tough to say. I really don't know. In general, I do like just stopping around 10. If I was on FUTU right in this area, that would have been fine. Sometimes, if I'm in a position and it's working, I'll keep trading longer. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I coulda, shoulda, woulda in this area, but I think I was just a little bit annoyed today. And my last trade pretty much brought me back to at least north of 300, which again isn't super high or anything, but after digging my way, after being up 400 and then going back to 0 and then, making my way to 320 with a lot of hiccups in between, I was just I'm not ready to take my next trade. And then another sell-off happens again. I would be so annoyed. So if I made 2%, I would be somewhat, happy. But if I lost 2%, I would just be really annoyed with myself much more than I would be happy. So I feel once I start thinking like that, it's a really good time just to walk away because I'm not thinking logically because that's not how I should be thinking. That's really how I should be focused on the charts in front of me and not all these P&L thoughts that I have in my mind at this point. You got to remember, I start trading at 7 a.m. So at 10 o'clock, that's 3 hours of looking at charts, right? It's not I've only been trading for 30 minutes right here in this area. So you got to keep that in mind as well. And, think about sitting in a classroom for like 2 hours in college or something. Like, hour number 2, you're just like, you're somewhere else. So like hour number 3 of trading, I'm actually still pretty focused, usually because I'll take off like 30 minutes and like read the news, or actually quite a lot longer. And I'll be doing other things like reading the news and getting some work in. And then when a hot ticker pops up, I'll refocus on that one. But still, after 3 hours, it's for me personally, it's really good time to call it, because then my mind is really thinking about maybe my P&L and like other work I got to do, and it's just all over the place. In general, I think I did okay on this ticker. I think I don't know, like some of all the sizes were really okay. Obviously, my biggest loser was my biggest size, but it's a larger company with larger shares outstanding, and sometimes it takes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 attempts before it breaks out, as opposed to these small caps, which typically break out or bail out, right? That's my motto, because it doesn't take that many attempts, maybe 1 or 2 attempts, but even if it takes any longer, it's already stalling, and then it's probably a good time to leave. So like a ticker like this, it's just constantly trying, and even more so on the actual order book, where this thing, this is a really tight order book. So I mean, the spread's like okay, but sometimes it'll like do these constant attempts, and it's just all over the place. So it just feels totally different than your classic small cap, which is fine. So you want to focus a little bit more on the actual price action here as opposed to the order flow, I would say, with these large caps. I don't know, maybe you're different, but I think that tends to work a little bit better for me. So like take a step back. Okay, what's a 5 minute doing? What's a 1 minute doing? Kind of like what you should always be doing, but even less reliant on the order book is really what I'm saying with FUTU and some of these larger companies with higher floats. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I do think there's a lot of resistance here. Now volume's fading too. So there's divergence, prices getting higher, volume's fading. I would be really careful trading this in this 48 zone. Maybe it's going to break this big resistance area. Who knows? Anything's possible. But if it does, I don't see it really holding very, very well right now. The news is a little bit weird where it's like up on earnings, but then they had like a downgrade right away. Just all over the place. Again, I don't want to think about that too much because that will affect my trading for no reason when I should just be focused on the price action. So yeah, that's FUTU in a nutshell. And then DIDI, we didn't even talk about DIDI. There's just so much to talk about today. DIDI. This ticker was kind of uninteresting for some reason. It like popped up here, big stare, consolidated, pretty much totally flat, and then starts randomly crawling up again, super random. I traded this move here, and this is another, I think this is Chinese ticker as well, but or road and rail trucking, I'm not actually totally sure, but this one was just behaving so weird. For example, I had some limit orders here, and it flushed below my limit orders. I didn't get filled, so I actually ended up kind of moving up my limit orders, even though the price went below my limit orders. I hate tickers like this. And then it just kind of like really wiggly price action, and then I try to sell. Again, the price is over my limit orders to sell, and I'm not getting out. I'm like, what is going on with this ticker? So I pretty much, in my mind, I was like, I don't know if I really want to keep trading this ticker after that. There was a really good breakout here. This was a really solid move with pretty decent volume. I went actually for a larger pullback here. Did a little bit of a trade in this area. I actually don't really remember how this overall turned out. I don't think I did the best trading here. I don't even know why I traded this, because this is backside trading again. I really shouldn't be trading backside. And then it just consolidates so hard. The way this ticker behaved was just so unusual. Yeah, look at that open sell-off too, 9%, devastating. So really, really rough stuff. And DIDI was really our lead gapper today based on dollar volume and percentage-wise. FUTU right now really, covering the dollar volume, but it was like really DIDI that had a lot of focus, but it just did not perform at all. So never a really good sign when your lead gapper performs this poorly. I guess I'm kind of lucky today that I was able to walk away with some decent moves. I feel like I'm a little bit more upset than I should be, like, doing this recap. Obviously, FUTU, definitely the best ticker on the day, and somehow I'm red on this ticker, so maybe that's why I'm a little bit annoyed too. But I don't know. I shouldn't put too much pressure on myself. It's Monday after all. I am green. I'm up like 3% based on my average size today. So like all in all, things are okay. But I like to, I'm always just comparing myself against myself, and I feel like somehow I could have done a lot better today, and I think maybe I acted a little bit sporadic and maybe let my emotions get the best of me today a little bit, and I think that's why I'm a little bit extra critical about myself today, just in case you're wondering, Alex, why are you so hard on yourself? Honestly, sometimes, I mean, you know this, if you've been here for a little bit, sometimes I'll be red and I'll be like, I did amazing today. Like, just because, I avoided a lot of big losers and there wasn't good opportunity and I just basically had really good risk management. Today, I'm green, but like, I feel like I just didn't do that good. If that makes sense. I hope it does. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to drop a like on the way out. I'll see you then first thing tomorrow morning. Like always, guys, stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.